Now let's study the structure of neuron. These neurons make up the entire nervous system, be it your central nervous system, peripheral nervous system, or autonomic nervous system. These neurons are the largest cell of your body and can be as long as 1 meter. They are the structural and functional unit of nervous system. It comprises of three parts, that is the dendron, cyton and axon. Dendrons and axons are the processes arising from cyton, and cyton is the main central body of the neuron. This cyton comprises of a distinct nucleus, cytoplasm, and specialized cells called Nissen's granules. The whole part that you see here is your cyton, and the long process that arises from the cyton is your axon. This cyton gives out numerous finger-like processes called dendrons and dendrites. So the larger ones are your dendrons, and the fine thread-like structures are your dendrites. Your axon is the middle rod-like structure that you can see, an elongated tubular structure that you can see is your axon. And this axon is just like an empty wire, or metal wire, which runs through our wiring system. So in order to protect short circuiting and anyone from getting shocked, these wires are insulated. Same way, on your axons also, since it carries electrical impulse, all the messages that are collected by the different parts of the body is sent to the brain in the form of electrical impulse, that is known as impulse. And that electrical impulse runs throughout this axon. So in order to prevent the short circuit in our body, also sometimes what happens? We start trembling, there is paralysis, or suddenly we get a jerk. All these things happen when there is intermingling of the messages or the impulses. That is what we call as short circuit. So in order to protect that, mixing of the impulse, hindrance of passing of impulse or conduction of impulse, what happens? These axons are also insulated, and that is known as, the insulation around the axon is known as myelin sheath, and it has specialized cells within it. They are known as Schwann cells. These cells are specialized cells. Now you can see the insulation is not even. It's interrupted at regular intervals. This interruption helps to conduct the message at a very fast speed. You can say a lightning speed. This insulation or this interruption or the breakage in the myelin sheath increases the speed of conduction of impulse. In that case, what happens? The impulse which is collected will jump from one node to another node, and this is how the speed is increased. This gap, the interruption or the breakage, is known as node of Ranvier. Nodes of Ranvier, Schwann, all these are the names of the scientists who discovered it. So, these parts are named after them. Finally, the axon ends in nerve endings, also known as terminal endings. And at the base, where it ends completely, there are knob-like structures. structures called as synaptic nodes. These are known as synaptic nodes. These synaptic nodes are filled with certain chemicals called neurotransmitter which help in conduction of impulse from one neuron to another. So this is your general structure of neuron. Now how do neurons function? How is the conduction of impulse carried out? For this what happens? These dendrites are the receiving ends. The direction of conduction of impulses from dendrites to nerve endings. This is your direction of impulse, direction of conduction of impulse. So this is the direction of conduction of impulse right from dendrite to nerve ending. All the stimulus, what is stimulus? Any change in the environment is called stimulus. And that stimulus is perceived by the dendrites. Any change, any slight change, suppose you are unaware, somebody comes just behind you. Again you become conscious and you know that somebody is standing at the back. So that is your stimulus. That sensation is somebody is standing behind you is the stimulus. That is perceived by the dendrites, passed on to cyton, and from cyton it moves down the axon and to the nerve endings. Now what happens at the nerve endings, there is another neuron attached to it. Now at the terminal ending what happens? This is your terminal ending or your nerve ending of the previous neuron what we saw which has collected the message and brought it up to here. There is another neuron in connection with the terminal ending. The point at which these two, that is the nerve ending of one neuron meets with the dendrite of the another neuron. Always remember there are two neurons, nerve ending of one neuron and dendrite of another neuron. Whenever they come in close contact, that point is known as synapse, this part. But they never touch each other. They are always close to each other. There is always some gap between them. They are never touching each other. So you can see the space between them and this point of contact. This point of contact is known as synapse. So I have drawn an enlarged structure of synapse here. So this is your synapse. Now which is the exact position of synapse? This part. Where the nerve ending of one neuron and the dendrite of another neuron meet each other. So this part is known as synapse. And the gap which is there between them is known as synaptic cleft. This gap is known as synaptic cleft. This gap is always filled with the neurotransmitter which helps in conduction of message from one neuron to another neuron. Now what happens? You can see this is your nerve ending, the synaptic node. This is your synaptic node. This swollen part, what you see is the synaptic node. In this node, you will see there are number of vesicles. Just like when we study the structure of cell, there are number of vesicles like your lysosomes and all. Same way here also you will have number of vesicles. They are filled with neurotransmitter. The most common neurotransmitter is your acetylcholine. The most common neurotransmitter is your acetylcholine. There are various neurotransmitters. One of them is your acetylcholine, which is filled in the synaptic node. Now, as soon as the message is received, the synaptic node the vesicle structure and release the chemical in the synaptic cleft, that is the space between two neurons or the gap. That is perceived by the dendrite of the next neuron. So the direction is in this manner. From the nerve ending to the dendrite of other neuron. So now this is how the message is conducted in the form of electrical impulse from one neuron to another. So now let's study the different types of neuron. With this we will end the neuron topic. Now coming to the types of neurons, there are three major types of neurons, that is the sensory neuron, motor neuron and association neuron. Association neuron is also known as interneuron or intermediate neuron. Sensory neurons are those neurons which are spread throughout your sense organ, which helps to perceive even the smallest stimulus. So since they receive the stimulus, they are known as receptors. So the impulse or the stimulus in the form of impulse will move from receptors to central nervous system, that is the brain or spinal cord. In the brain, the message is interpreted and a response is generated, which is carried by the motor neurons from central nervous system to the effectors. Effectors are those parts of the body, that is your muscle or glands, which generates a response and helps you protect your body or respond to certain stimulus. Like if you prick your finger, you remove your hand. So when you prick your finger, that pricking, the pain, the sensation is perceived or received by the sensory neurons, which are known as receptors. So this sensory neuron will take the message to central nervous system. Now in central nervous system, that is your brain or spinal cord, the message is interpreted. What response has to be generated, whether the hand should stay on it or hand should be moved away. So that message or the interpretation, the result of that interpretation is generated in the form of response. That is carried by the motor neuron. They will bring the message from the central nervous system to the muscle, that is the muscle of your hand, so that you can pull your hands back and protect it from further injury. Last is the association neuron. Association neuron is also known as mixed neuron because it comprises of both the sensory and the motor neuron. The act of interpreting the message and generating the response is done by the association neuron. These neurons are also present in the central nervous system, that is your brain and spinal cord. And their function, the function of this association neuron is to carry impulse from sensory neuron to motor neuron. It will generate a response and pass on the message from sensory neuron to motor neuron. So these are the types of neuron. But have you noticed that continuously I am using the term neurons, not the nerves? What happens? We often talk or refer to nervous system with the help of the word nerves. So now what are nerves? There is a vast difference. Being a biology student, since you are studying nervous system, there is a vast difference between the term neuron and nerves. They are not one and the same thing. So what is the difference? Neuron is a single cell. Neuron is the largest cell of the body. It can be as long as 1 meter, especially the nerves arising from the spinal cord, that is your nerves running from waist to toe, is the largest, that is a single nerve. That is the largest nerve of your body. So now, neuron, sorry, it's neuron, or if you want to use the word nerve, you will say nerve cell, not nerves or nerve fibers. Nerves and nerve fibers are one and the same thing, whereas neurons are also known as nerve cell. Neurons are also known as nerve cell. Clear? Now, then what are nerves? Have you seen cable wires? Suppose this is your cable. You have number of bundles in it. This is a single nerve fiber. This is a single nerve fiber with number of more nerve fibers inside this. So these are bundles and each one of them is filled with even finer cells called nerve cells. So this entire structure is your nerve fiber or nerves or bundle of nerves, whatever can be referred to as. So this is one big bundle, that is your nerves. Then these are your smaller bundles of nerves known as nerve fibers. And then we have neurons. Each one is a neuron and each bundle is a nerve fiber. Clear? And this is your entire big one nerve. This is your single nerve. Just now we studied about the nerve cell, the structure of nerve cell which has myelin sheath around it. Such nerves are known as myelinated nerve fibers, and we have some nerve fibers, especially association neuron. They are without any myelin sheath. So sensory and motor, they both are myelinated nerve cells. They both are myelinated nerve cells, means they have myelin sheaths around them. Whereas association neurons do not have any myelin sheath, so they are known as non-myelinated. Clear? So this is all about the topic neuron and the nerves. With this we come to an end of the topic neuron or nerve. In the next video we will start studying about the details of central nervous system. Thank you.